A very good evening and thank you for joining me. I'm William Evans and this is RwandaTV News in English, but first the headlines. 18th Unity Club in Rwanda Forum, retired General Fred Ibingira reminded Rwandans that the foundation of Rwanda's remarkable progress lies in the country's good leadership under His Excellency President Paul Kagame. World Rotary Club Kigali Grove has donated prosthetic limbs to persons with disabilities under the National Union of Disability Organizations of Rwanda. It's a pleasure always having you join us for RwandaTV News. Now this is the news in detail. Retired General Fred Ibingira says that the foundation of Rwanda's remarkable progress lies in the country's good leadership under His Excellency President Paul Kagame. He made the remarks during his presentation at the 18th Unity Club in Rwanda Forum. Take a look. The 18th edition of this forum was held under the theme Ndi Umunyarwanda, igitekerezo ngenga cyo kubaho kwacu, loosely translated as I am Rwandan, the guiding principle of our existence. Retired General Fred Ibingira said that Rwanda's achievements were made possible by visionary leadership. He recalled the weight of the country's history, how some of those who fought to liberate the nation returned only to find their families wiped out, yet chose forgiveness and reconciliation, inspired by the country's exemplary leadership.
Amabwiriza yari ngo dore ishyano rigwiriye igihugu cyacu. Commanders muyoboye ingabo mugomba gufata ibyemezo byo gukontorora ingabo.
The instructions were as follows. Considering the catastrophe that had befallen our nation, every commander must take a deliberate decision to ensure everyone under their command does not revenge or carry out revenge against the enemy in any way. Your Excellency, the First Lady and members here today, we usually hear, especially from the Western world, that so-and-so has been given this award and the like. But if there is anyone deserving of an award in this world, is President Paul Kagame. And should people fail to give it to him, God will. Imagine you are holding a gun loaded with bullets, and upon returning, you find that almost everyone in your family, including your parents and relatives, has been murdered and the murderers are still around. And you have the capacity of also killing them, but you choose otherwise.
Ufite ubwo bushobozi nawe bwo gukora ibyo bakoze n'ukora icyo kintu.
He further noted that Rwandans made the right choice by entrusting themselves in inclusive leadership, and he urged young people to safeguard and build upon the gains the country has made.
Hari umukoloneli wari uvuye muri FDLR atashye aba activated mu ngabo z'u Rwanda ahabwa kuyobora imwe mu ntara z'u Rwanda. Bukeye mu magazine inama twagomba kugira inama nka saa 4 za mu gitondo.
There is a colonel that was coming from the FDLR who was reintegrated into the Rwanda Defense Forces upon returning. He was tasked to lead one of the provinces here. One time, I called for a meeting and we were supposed to convene one in the morning hours. This colonel called me to excuse himself, saying he would run late because he had to drop his child to the airport because the child was going to the US for school. Because I knew him very well, I asked where he had gotten the money. In his response, he told me his child had gotten a presidential scholarship. I then asked him jokingly if he could now tell that governments are unique. I was a general and his leader, but my child had not gotten the scholarship. Instead, his had gotten it, and yet he had just returned from the FDLR. However, he gave me a good response saying, Afande, this government does not favor people. It is a fair one. I personally want to build on this and many other concrete examples in place as an assurance that our choice wasn't a bad one.
Nka kimwe mu bintu meraho n'ibindi byinshi bihari kigaragaza ko guhitamo kwacu kutatubeshye.
Jean de Dieu Uwizeye shared his personal testimony about the divisive politics he experienced growing up during the Second Republic. He called on everyone to speak openly and truthfully about Rwanda's past.
Kugeza no ku rwego umuntu twanahunganye tukajyana Congo Brazza tukajyana Gabo ambwira ngo ninze kumutangira ikiganiro cy'uko twahunze kandi nawe twarajyanye nkibaza ariko
There are people I lived with in exile who often ask me to share their stories. In fact, a number of them called me to share their stories, but without their direct participation. I think this conversation should not be a responsibility of a few people. Instead, all of us should actively engage for the greater good. The chairperson of the Rwanda Demobilization and Integration Commission applauded President Paul Kagame for giving Rwanda a new direction, one that has also empowered women to take part in building the nation.
Murashakiki mwaje tugataha ku Rwanda wabaye igitangaza ko ruyobowe neza. Nshimishijwe no kubamenyesha nyakubahwa First Lady ko nabitwa generals mu byubahiro byanyu.
What do you want? Why don't you join in and we return home, because Rwanda is now a great country. I am so happy, Your Excellency, the First Lady, to share that even the generals and others were able to return. I want to emphasize that we are grateful to the President, His Excellency Paul Kagame, because he gave us the capacity, and honestly speaking, there is nothing an empowered woman cannot do.
Kandi mu byukuri bigaragare ko umugore umuhaye courage akanyabugabo mu byukuri ntacyo atakora.
The Unit Club Forum was attended by many young people who described it as an important space for reflection and for renewing their commitment to being the foundation of a sustainable nation. Now, political analysts point out that although Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo have signed a draft agreement on economic development cooperation, as long as DRC has not yet demonstrated the will to implement the commitments agreed upon previously in the previous accords between the two countries, it remains difficult to believe that this new draft agreement will be implemented. The agreement was signed on Friday when delegations from both countries, Rwanda and the DRC, met with the representatives of the United States, the State of Qatar, Togo, and the African Union in Washington, D.C., in a meeting aimed at reviewing the progress made in implementing the peace agreement signed between Rwanda and DRC on June 27, 2025, and identifying existing challenges. Political analyst and lawyer Jean-Baptiste Gassomilar, who closely follows politics in the Great Lakes region, says that this was a positive step forward, but that it is still too early to confirm whether the provisions of the new agreement will be implemented. He added that as long as the DRC has not shown a willingness to eradicate the FDLR terrorist group operating within its territory, it will be difficult to achieve lasting peace in the region. The draft economic cooperation agreement between Rwanda and the DRC includes areas of cooperation such as collaboration in mining, construction of the Rusizi 3 hydroelectric dam, trade partnerships, development of border infrastructure, improvement of the health sector, and conservation of national parks. Among those who attended the signing ceremony were the U.S. Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, Alison Hooker, and the President Donald Trump's advisor on African Affairs, Masad Bowles, as confirmed by the U.S. Department of State. Now, members of the Association of Customs Clearing Agents say that stepping up efforts to support the government in collecting taxes and revenues that go into the national treasury through customs operation. This was their commitment as the elected new leadership team that will steer the association for the next 3 years. We do have details. Mutoni Juliet, the managing director of a company that provides custom clearing and forwarding services, was briefing her staff, urging them to work harder and uphold professionalism in their collaboration with custom officials so that they continue supporting the government in proper tax collection. Mutoni explained that her company is responsible for facilitating cross-border trade, but more importantly, for assisting the government in collecting taxes from importers and exporters. She said they're determined to strengthen their contribution to the country's development.
Iyo rero tubikora gutyo twinjiza amafaranga mu kigega cya leta kuko kandi dukora neza.
In our operations, we contribute to how much the government gets through taxes. Therefore, when Rwanda revenue gets the taxes, indirectly the government gets more revenue, which helps it achieve its development goals and targets.
Targets ziba zikenewe kugira ngo tukomeze kuzamura ubukungu bw'igihugu.
The goal of supporting the government in mobilizing domestic revenue is shared by other professionals in the same sector. Among them is Ijena RwandaTV, the managing director of J&A Clearing Agents, which also offers custom clearing services for cross-border traders operating in Rwanda.
biradusaba ko natwe turushaho kuba compliant tukubahiriza amategeko.
We are also required to be more compliant by following the guidelines, because if we don't, our country won't be able to get taxes because it is us who assesses them.
kubona iyo misoro kuko ari twebwe tuba twayibaza.
Both Ijena RwandaTV and Mutoni Juliet are among those newly elected to lead the Rwanda Freight Forwarders Association, a body that represents clearing and forwarding agents who track and facilitate cargo movement from countries of origin through seaports, land borders and airports up to inland custom stations.
Mu byukuri icyo tubifuzaho nuko bakomeza bagashyira imbaraga mu bijyanye no kubaka.
Members of this association say they have confidence in their newly elected leaders and they believe that they will help them effectively carry out their duties, including those directly benefiting the country.
Cyangwa amahoro yabyo yabashe kwakirwa neza.
Bose ni abantu twizeyeho ubushobozi bafite ubunararibonye kandi twizeye tudashidikanya yuko.
What we are looking forward to from this team is continued professional development and growth and more capacity building, because our work requires good professionalism, especially in tax compliance.
The
newly elected chairperson, Rwigema David, said the new committee aims to strengthen professionalism of its members and continue supporting the country in tax collection as part of their long-standing responsibility. Amidst us all and some of the challenges that delay our work as businesses will be discussed and solutions provided so that we contribute to the economic development of our nation. The Rwanda Revenue Authority acknowledges that customs clearing and forwarding agents have significantly contributed to its revenue collection success, helping it surpass its 2024-2025 fiscal year target by 101%. According to Rwanda Revenue's figures, against the target of 3,041.2 billion Rwandan francs, the authority collected 3,079.8 billion Rwandan francs, achieving 101.3%, an increase of 16.7% compared to the previous year. Now, Rotary Club Kigali Golf has donated prosthetic limbs to persons with disabilities under the National Union of Disability Organizations of Rwanda, NUDOL. A partnership agreement was also signed between Rotary Club Kigali Golf and NUDOL, aimed at improving the welfare of people with disabilities. Dr. Beth Mukarwego, the head of NUDOL, affirmed that working with Rotary Club Kigali Golf is of great importance. The president of the Rotary Club Kigali Golf, Andrew Kraije, emphasized that such charitable activities are the main mission of this organization.
Reaching out to the communities, giving back to society, because we all come from communities and they're quite different challenges. And we have different abilities. And the way we live, the way we sleep, the way we take care of ourselves, there's a lot of things that we can send out to different communities. So like today, we are reaching out those people with disabilities. We started empowering them economically by giving them machines that do the tailoring. Now reaching out to the health and education sector so that everyone can reach a level where they are comfortable in community, where they're not rejected, and they feel they're needed in communities they live in.
Who leads the Rotary Club of Kigo 7 Lakes Golf in Uganda, stated that his team came all the way from Uganda to support Rotary Club Kigali Golf because helping others is part of the club's culture and they must stand together in such humanitarian activities.
We came to join hands with the Rotary Club of Kigali Golf as they do good. Above all, we've been in touch and we've been working together on various fronts, but today was very special. They are launching a very big initiative, helping people who are enabled differently. We don't call them disabled, we call them they are enabled differently. And we want to join hands with them in supporting these initiatives. We've told them moving forward with the MOU they have signed, whichever project they initiate, we want to be part as Chigo 7 Lakes Golf. Our members will be able to contribute on those initiatives, and will be able also to come where we can to join hands and be on ground. We love to have boots on ground as we do good. And as Rotarians, we do good and give to humanity. Not that we have a lot of money, but because we have a giving heart. Most of our people, whatever little they have, they would be happy sharing it with those who are less privileged. So that's what we do every day as Rotarians. There are more than 1.2 million Rotarians across the globe. And every day, they wake up to do good to people they will never meet. And Rotary in the world has helped in wiping out polio on the face of the earth. They have helped in educating people. They have, the way you've seen here, helping those who are that need to be enabled to move with clutches, those who need to be enabled to see with glasses. So they have done a lot, and we are still doing a lot, and that's why we are joining hands, because more hands, the better.
International is a global non-government organization that carries out humanitarian activities, including helping the underprivileged improve their livelihoods, supporting services that promote community well-being, and fighting epidemic diseases. It has more than 1.2 million members in over 35,000 clubs across more than 200 countries, including those in Rwanda, such as the Rotary Club Kigali Golf, which was established last year. Now let's look at the Russian Energy Week 2025 forum in Moscow, where His Excellency Major General Joseph Nzabamwita, Ambassador of Rwanda in Russia, gave an exclusive interview to Detskaya, the children's editorial section of WBC Media, in collaboration with the Race Congress Foundation. In the discussion, Ambassador Nzabamwita presented Rwanda's energy transformation, tracing the nation's progress from only 6% electricity access in 2009 to over 84% today. He emphasized that this success was driven by His Excellency President Paul Kagame's government policies and long-term investment in both renewable and innovative energy technologies. The ambassador outlined Rwanda's Vision 2025 as a strategic framework, positioning the country to become a high-income industrialized economy by mid-century. Achieving this goal, he noted, will require close to 12 gigawatts of capacity and a diversified energy mix that includes renewable and nuclear energy. He underscored the importance of Rwanda-Russia collaboration in the energy sector, citing ongoing partnerships with Rostom and that date back to 2018. These initiatives, he said, allow both nations to share expertise and strengthen cooperation in advanced technology for sustainable development. Beyond energy, the conversation highlighted education, youth and culture diplomacy, and the ambassador praised the growing number of Rwandan students studying in Russian universities and noted that Russian institutions such as St. Petersburg State University now offers courses in African languages, including Kinyarwanda and Swahili. Concluding the interview, Major General Joseph Nzabamwita encouraged young audiences to listen to their parents and leaders to value education, discipline, and ambition to dream big for the progress of Rwanda, Russia, and the world. Now, as Rwanda positions itself as a regional hub for quality education, the contribution of international universities is becoming increasingly evident. The Higher Education Council reveals that over 2,700 Rwandan students are now enrolled in internationally accredited programs offered within the country, a reflection of growing trust in Rwanda's higher education system and its global partnerships.
Facts. Having international universities operating in Rwanda, it is anchored within the national policy and under the policy stance of building a knowledge economy in Rwanda. And as you have observed from different national strategies, Rwanda intends to position herself as a regional education hub. So to get to the knowledge economy, to get to Rwanda where it becomes a regional education hub, there has to be something happen. And the international universities are very key in this process. And Rwanda has been embarking on attracting internationally recognized and reputable universities that could drive this process, mostly determine and provide good education and education programs that are linked to the national development priorities, mostly bridging where we have gaps as a country in our development process. And that's how these universities are being attracted, facilitated to operate in Rwanda. The contribution is huge and it is enormous and it is growing every day because these universities are providing educational programs that are required by the labor market. For example, in the area of technology, innovation, data analytics, data science, and some of these grad programs respond to already the gaps we have in the country. And most of these programs, you see graduates coming to contribute in the labor market in the areas where we have gaps. Software developers, health professionals, and other areas. We are collecting data with Rwandan students studying these universities. Right now, the figure we have is about 2,778 Rwandan students studying these universities, but the numbers are increasing every day. HEC as a regulator and a facilitator for these universities to operate in Rwanda, we are always keen on how education at higher education level is aligned to the development priorities of the country. And as we engage these universities, some coming within Rwanda and others coming out of Rwanda, we make sure that their curriculum design, their delivery of teaching and learning, research, industrial attachment or internship, all align to the development priorities of the country and align to making sure that the products that come out of these universities, these are students, research, innovations, and everything, contribute to the economy of the country. So the curriculums they develop, we sit with them and we work together to make sure that the curriculum reflects the needs of the economy, the needs of the market. And the curriculum reviews, when we are conducting reviews of these curriculum, because education is something that changes here and then, every day. And we make sure that these changes are aligned to the needs of the industry. So we work together during the whole process of curriculum development, approval. We work together when they are delivering, making sure that quality assurance is also keen on the needs of the market and the quality that will come out of that. We work with the professional bodies and other professional experts from different areas to make sure that when we are assessing them and advising them, we are making sure that priorities of the country are paid attention. And the student that comes out of it has all the capabilities that are required by the labor market. There are some challenges, but these are early challenges of learning and development. For example, as I have explained, the government has intention to attract these universities. And when they attract them, some universities come with, let's say, agenda of their home countries or home universities. And they feel that that is what should happen. But for us, we want, yes, they come as cross-border universities or programs, but they are contextualized and aligned to the national priorities of the country. And in working out that process, you find that sometimes they are not flexible to adjust, but others you find them, they are flexible to adjust. Another one is on financial sustainability. So you find that most of these universities depend on financing from their home countries, or donors, or philanthropists, or founders. And this funding, sometimes when there is a reason that the funding is changing or disrupted, it disrupts the delivery here as well. And that one affects the operations of the university. Another one you find is on research and the staff development. So you find that most of these universities come with some, but others are still young as well. They come with the faculty, the researchers, and the research agenda, but that is driven from their home countries, and the researchers from their home countries and their agenda. And you find that the agenda of developing local research capabilities and doing the research for within the home country and be able to contribute to innovations is not really an agenda that they are focusing on. And even you find that it is driven the other researcher from principal investigator from the other side. And if our Rwandans here, they're just doing data collections and all this. So for us, we are embarking on that, and we are making sure that even the research and innovation that they are doing has to be geared to knowledge generation, production, but also building the research ecosystem that builds the capacity of our local researchers, but also drives innovation and industrial growth in the country. Higher Education Council seems to be having two roles. The first role is regulation, and we are so intentional on the way how we conducting regulation moving forward. First is the health regulation, to make sure that these universities operate in a very facilitating way, but also ensure that the education they deliver is of quality and aligned to the development priorities of the country, and they are supported. That's one. Another one is evidence-based regulation, because here we need to build on the priorities, the needs of the country, and also the needs of these universities as well. So in doing all this, we design the regulatory instruments that facilitates these universities. That's second. Third is to ensure that we are attracting the universities that are required in the country. So we have the priorities, we have where we have gaps in different sectors, and in our engagement with international universities, working with our diplomatic missions abroad and other RINE institutions in the country, we are keen on that. How we attract these universities, how we facilitate students to get to these universities, so that we make sure that at the end of it all, Rwandan students and the market are able to benefit.
With that report, we come to the end of tonight's bulletin. I'm William Evans. Have a good night, good luck, and goodbye.